Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, viewers. Today we have rather a very interesting session. We'll have a little bit of a monologue about disruptive leadership, and thereafter we'll have a very interesting guest that you should carry to see who is. Now let's me start my monologue. It's about disruptive leadership, and many of us we know what is disruptive leadership because it is the new normal like COVID-19. The traditional leadership theories that we had been dealing with so far is getting, I think, obsolete and is being replaced by disruptive leadership theory. So, who are these disruptive leaders? Well, they're the ones who do things in a different way. They change things, change the way things are done, and not afraid to shake the things up. They challenge status quo, push accepted behaviors, they disrupt their own frame of reference and look for insights in unexpected places. Professionally, they're critical, but they accept others' views as well. And they're always looking for better solutions. So, don't you think that they're the ones that we are looking forward to? As Barack Obama said, that we shouldn't wait for anyone else. We are the ones that we had been waiting for. So, disruptive leaders are the ones that we had been waiting for. So, to get a further depth into what disruptive leadership is all about, let us see what are the dimensions of disruptive leadership. Well, they anticipate. If you can't anticipate things, you are going to perish. They accelerate. You got to remain at the same pace with the world or the technological breakthrough that is moving forward in. They drive. The disruptive leaders are driven by themselves and they will inspire and drive others who are around them. The partner, because you can get things done alone. So you got to collaborate, and that's why partnership is important. And lastly, the trust. You must have 100% trust on your followers, on your peers, and trust is the foundation or the bedrock on which leadership stands. So let's now see the habits of disruptive leaders. What are the habits that the disruptive leaders normally cherish? Well, they relentlessly pursue the truth. If you can handle the truth, then perhaps you are not for 21st century. They find they find others through chaos. They always will find some way through the chaos and through the fogs of war that we call it, and they will some or other find their way out. They are decisive. You have to make fast decision because if you are late in decision making, there is no point that that decision will be useful once the time is past. They break the rules and write new ones. The existing rules are no more implementable. That has turned out to be obsolete. So you must break the rules and write new rules because the VUCA environment, the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment that the world is now going through, necessitate breaking the rules and writing of new ones. And they thrive in uncertainty. Think about the book of Nassim Nicholas Taleb, Anti-Fragility. Disruptive leaders have to be anti-fragile. They must gain in disorder. Now, the rules of disruptive leadership. There are a few rules that the disruptive leaders must follow to perform better, to make their organization more profitable. Some of them are be curious and ask why. If you have read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, they have these three golden circles. First is the what, then how, and lastly, at the center, why. Normally, the leaders know what to do. Many of the leaders would know how to do it, but not too many leaders know why we do it the purpose of doing things. So the disruptive leaders know why they're doing whatever they're doing. Stand up and be counted. If you're a non-entity, you have no place in the 21st century VUCA environment. So you must stand up and show up. Be leading edge, not bleeding edge. They always remain ahead of the curve. If you are not leading the time, if you are not ahead of the curve, then you will be, I think, getting out of place, or you will be laggard to get to the pace the world is moving forward in. Build your bank of intelligence. Disruptive leaders are brainiacs. They always learn and they learn continuously. They have a huge bank of intelligence that they can lay their hands on whenever they need. And lastly, the diversify the circle of influence. As you get your network further and further expanded, you have the strength of your network. You have the strength of your associates. More people you know, the more strong you are, and in a collaborative manner in support of each other. So try to look forward to become disruptive, because disruptive leadership is here to stay, and it is the new normal in the fields of leadership. So that's all I had with regards to disruptive leadership. Now, let me unveil the guest that we have. We have with us tonight Toufique Imrose Khalidi, who is a Bangladeshi journalist, news commentator, and media manager. Since 2006, he has been the editor in chief, managing director, and a board member in the holding company Bangladesh News 24 Hours Limited, and Bangladesh's pioneering and dominant 24/7 news portal, bdnews24.com. Educated and trained in Dhaka, Tokyo, Paris, and London, Khalidi has international experience of print, broadcast, and digital journalism. He has commented on politics, public policy, economic management as a leader writer. He also worked in the newsroom with the major print broadsheets as senior editor and manager. In his broadcasting career, he worked at the BBC as a producer, editor, and presenter. As a reporter, he has covered a wide range of issues, ranging from business to social development, diplomacy to foreign economic relation, politics to economy. And lastly, he has clinched the ICT Award of 2017 as the first uh, uh, holder of the ICT Award as a media personality. So please welcome Mr. Tawfiq Imrose Khalidi. Welcome to our today's Sublime Leadership Show.
Thank you, General. Thank you, General. I'm proud to be and delighted to be on your show, and I'm glad to be on your show. And thank you so much for inviting me.
So as the viewers have come to know who you are, so let us get to know what have you got to say. The first question that the viewers would like to present to you is the story of bdnews24.com, how it emerged as the most popular, one of the most popular news portal of Bangladesh.
Um, well, initially, we're not one of the most popular news portals. Initially, we're the most popular news portal. We began it, we started it, not just in Bangladesh, probably in the world. We're the first internet-only national news gathering operation in the world, not just in Bangladesh. Huffington Post, for example, was there before us, but it was possibly a blog site, not a proper news gathering operation. They didn't have a national news gathering option, rather later on this currently that they have this international news gathering operation. So I would say we were not just Bangladesh's first, but world's first. That story is a bit long, but I'll try to be as short as possible, as brief as possible. Um, it was 2006, mid 2006. We took over a dying company, sinking company. It was known as BD News, a news agency service with a few clients, television channels and newspapers. They were not being able to run it. The owners and managers, they were about to shut it down. and lay off all these employees, 86 of them in Dhaka, and there are others outside Dhaka. So they were approaching all sorts of people, irrespective of their political background, and the rich people. Since I knew some of these people, the senior editors or other people, they approached me, because when they started it, I was in London and working for the BBC, and then I was visiting, and they invited me to visit the newsroom, and I spent some time in the newsroom and tried to help them out how to go about doing some things, maintain certain standard. So I developed a sort of emotional attachment to the company, to the outfit, to the newsroom. Then what happened is, when they were looking for someone to rescue this, at some stage they also negotiated with me, approached me. Then I approached someone, a friend, and then we agreed to take over the company, and that's how it happened. Then when we took over, the main key point was to save the jobs and save the name. We tried to save the jobs, but we could not save the name. I changed the name. I rebranded it. I started calling it bdnews24.com, making effectively, or giving birth to effectively, the first .com company in this country, in Bangladesh. Because I had already seen lastminute.com, whatever, all this .com bubble. All this .com bubble had already burst in some of these countries in Europe. And in Bangladesh, it hadn't begun at all. So I thought, why not give it a try? So I decided to, I did a new logo. The old logo, I didn't like the old logo. BD News and huge, green and red. It was green and red, fine. I love green and red. But then the way it was done, I didn't like it. So I commissioned someone else to do a new logo. So bdnews24.com. You see, if you look at the logo, these letters, these fonts were nowhere there in the world. It is created. It's absolutely new. And there's one brilliant guy, a young guy called Yasir Riyad, who helped me out in 3 days to revamp the whole website. Absolutely revamp the whole site. He was absolutely underrated, just was one of those uploaders uploading. No one could recognize his talent. I said, when I spoke to him first, and I saw that this guy is brilliant. And he really changed the whole site. We took about some time in June 2006, but we made the announcement on the 1st of September 2006. And we took some time to, change the logo, rebranded, recruit new people, and I became very unpopular because I had to do quite a bit of, quite a few changes in the leadership, and also the way it was being run editorially. So we put in place a new editorial guideline, editorial processes, and some people didn't like it because they were enjoying a certain kind of freedom that that gave them whatever they want, the power to do whatever they wanted to do. I changed all that. And then we started recruiting new people. But I found out some of these people were not up to the mark. And I spent nights after nights reading all their CVs. And I knew probably each and every employee's academic background, which school they went to, which college they went to. I did all that. And then I started recruiting people. When I started recruiting new people and put them in charge of different departments, some people didn't like it, some people left the organization, and some people certain that it's not a good thing to do, the way you were doing it, it's not. I said, no, I have to, whatever, I'd like to do it differently. Yes, I'm being disruptive for some people, but I'm not trying to damage the institution. I want to develop the institution. I don't want to destroy the institution. I want to take it to a different level. Because that was my promise to myself, to my audience, to everyone. So on the 1st of September, we made the formal announcement that yes, BD News 24 is reborn. It's called no longer BD News, bdnews24.com. And then we moved to a new office very quickly. The day one Bangladeshi gentleman got the Nobel Prize, we're busy moving our office. and not even all these things were in place. I mean, technically, some, and I started writing the the top story uh, with the help of two of my senior colleagues. I drove to another place where there's an internet connection because things were still being put in place, as I said. So that's a very memorable day for us. That was 13th of October, if I'm not wrong. Uh, then we're Eid, approaching Eid, and Bangladesh, whole Bangladesh. I mean, the media in Bangladesh should be closed for 5 days. There's a 5-day holiday, and there'll be no newspaper for 5 days, and would be up and running. Uploading news. It was a closed site for our clients, and the clients wouldn't be, bringing out their newspapers or no television channels would be running very, I mean, truncated news bulletins, not really full news bulletins, because of during Eid holidays they do all sorts of entertainment shows. I was coming back from a meeting from Gulshan, and probably was stuck in traffic in front of the Prime Minister's office. Then I decided, what the hell we are doing? What the hell are you doing? We are going to publish all this news. My colleagues will be working hard 24/7, and no one is going to read it, no one is going to use it. How about opening the site to public? Then I picked up the phone. Mobile phone was there with me, and then I called 5 editors, top editors of the top 5 publications in Bangladesh. And I booked advertisement space. One newspaper editor said it's very difficult because there's simply no space. All spaces. The last day of before holiday. So it's very difficult. I said you have to. I used my whatever relationship or the crowd I had with these people. I booked advertisement slots, and I picked up the phone and asked a colleague of mine, design something that will be there. We're not going to go to sleep. We'll be producing news to keep you. We'll keep you updated. There'll be news 24/7. So keep an eye on bbnews24.com. That kind of message. I don't remember the exact language at the moment. Yes, a design was done, and it was sent to all these 5 newspapers. That was our first kind of marketing initiative or drive. And I did not consult anyone. Suddenly, I decided to do it. And on that night, that was 23rd of October. 22nd of October evening, 23rd of October, 0001 hours. That was the time when Bangladesh's, or for that matter, world's first internet-only national news gathering outfit or national news publisher was born. We started calling it Bangladesh's first online newspaper. At some stage, I decided to call it Bangladesh's first internet newspaper. Now we are called various things. Bangladesh's first bilingual 24/7 news provider. These days, everyone is a news publisher. A newspaper is a news publisher. We also news publisher. We publish on the internet, and then they publish using this, newsprint. Not very healthy thing to, touch or even use. For example, I don't subscribe to any of the newspapers for years now. I've just forgotten how it feels to touch a newspaper. Although I started my career with newspapers, and I enjoyed doing the makeup, enjoyed writing the headlines, enjoyed writing the photo captions, enjoyed playing with words, alliteration, alliterative sentences, with a lot of alliteration, and the headlines. And this was my passion for a long time. Then I started hating newspapers, and these people also started hating me. So there was a kind of a rivalry. When we started it, then the top-selling newspaper also started. We became 24/7 provider. In about 5 days, 23rd, 29th, techie, one of the technical guys came up to me and said, "Sir, look at the figures. One of the rating sites, I mean, ranking sites, the site that used to rank websites, said, we are the top site in any category in Bangladesh." That was in just 5 days. Probably in 24 hours we reached there, but we hadn't noticed that. So on the 29th, I was told and shown, and look at this. We are actually the most popular site in any category, not just a news site. The job site was quite popular. There were other things. So we reached the top almost overnight. That really encouraged us, newsroom. This is very exciting. It is very exciting for all of us in the newsroom. And then we did not stop. I did not close the site. We closed the site for a while. Part of it, when people are stealing our content and not giving a due credit or not paying us, because until then, our main source of income was the subscription from these newspapers and television channels. There are a lot of agencies, I mean, Reuters, AP, and AFP, they have their site, not all content is closed. There are stories and the content that can be accessed by anyone. But then if you want to use their stories or content, you have to pay them. You have to subscribe to their service. And all these people are officially subscribers, but they're not paying us properly. And some of them are not officially subscribers.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could we learn more about the leadership challenges that you
I'm coming to that.
encountered in your voyage to get this portal being number one?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Now, so we are suddenly in deep trouble. How do we pay? How do we make money? So then at that stage, at that point, we decided to do something different. Yeah, we changed the business model. That's where the leadership, we led, in fact, the world, not just Bangladesh, how to run a news portal which offers news or service, its news service to its audience free of cost, but it has to make money to pay it. Because in other cases, for example, New York Times, BBC, they had their news site, quite popular, but it is an offshoot or a byproduct of their television or radio channels, stations, or the newspaper, in case of New York Times. And in case of BBC, they have the main thing is BBC is famous for its television, BBC is famous for its numerous radio stations, across UK. And also the BBC World Service, which reached almost every corner of the world. So for a news publisher, that was solely relying on its internet-only operation, it was a huge challenge. So we had to lead. We led, and others followed. Today, there are thousands of websites based on the same model, based on the same economic model. 1.5 years into roughly 1.5 years into the launch of that free to access website on 23rd of October 2006, I was invited by this Manila-based Asian Center for Journalism, which is part of a top university in the Philippines. And one of my colleagues had already done a master's there, so there was a reference. The executive director had visited our office, and she invited me over to give a talk. That's an annual event. All the top professors from all over the world, journalism professors, gather and they discuss policies, change the academy. The syllabus. They change the syllabus. They update the syllabus. And I gave a lecture, and one of the key questions from one of the professors was, "What's the business? Where did you get this? What's the business? How do we make money? Ultimately, you have to make money." I said, we keep innovating. It's a new thing. Yeah, we sell real estate. Advertisement is one source. We had started selling to telcos, telephone companies, because late 2007, I remember the dates. It was a November afternoon. 2 young executives from Grameenphone came and saw me and met me and said, "We want to do this. But are you sure? Are you authorized to do it? Are you authorized to talk to me?" The young kids, yes, we are. Fine. Probably on the 3rd of December, we signed a contract, 2006. On the 8th, we started this service. On 22nd, it rose by at least 10 times because they send out probably a promotional SMS saying this service is on. So we started making money. By March, we were breaking even. We were making money. We made it, 2007. But then again, it nosedived for a different reason. That was political. That's a different issue because there's a different kind of government in power in Bangladesh, military-run caretaker government, which is not really a proper caretaker government that is mandated by the constitution. It's a different kind of government, which you know. So we started losing money again. We lost a lot of businesses, adverts and contracts and other things. So we were in trouble. 2008 was a very bad year for us. But it was bad year for us, bad time for us financially. But when it comes to news, we're doing fantastic because there's no doubt of news. There, so many things are happening, and we're enjoying doing it. And I have to leadership. It was a collective leadership. Yes, I was there at the top, but my colleagues, they sacrificed a lot because they're enjoying the job. I made sure they enjoyed the job. They had all the freedom to write anything about anyone.
So thank you, Mr. Khalidi. We have with us a model disruptive leader. And I know that it had not been a cakewalk, and you had been through the vicissitude of life and your career. Now, we have gone past the days of understanding that leadership is no more a born factor, or no one is born leader. So most of the leaders are made. So it being a leadership platform, Sublime Leadership, what recommendations would you like to leave for the young generation leaders? That how would they turn out to be an effective or successful leader like you?
I'm not sure whether I'm a successful leader. Success is defined
The,
differently by
the result defines the success.
yeah, the result. If you're not financially successful, and then you're not successful. Some people tend to measure success in terms of money and other things. Maybe in terms of reputation, credibility, prestige. Yes, we are the most trusted news provider in this country, and there's no question about it. When our rivals admit that, our enemies admit that, everyone admits that. We get pride in that fact that that we are the most trusted provider of news in this country. That's fine. My key advice, if I'm not sure whether I'm competent enough to give advice to people. I'm a poor journalist.
In the light of your experience, I mean.
Yeah, in the light of my experience, main thing is if you enjoy doing what you're doing. That's number one. And then you are focused on the job. If you don't enjoy the job, don't do it. That's number one. Then you become passionate about it because you're enjoying it. If you're passionate about it, then you tend to do things differently. Yeah, I have to do it. Then you are motivated. And then you want to achieve targets. Yes, I have to do it. Even if you are disrupting, you are not. Let me tell you. Even when I'm in my previous jobs, or I mean, before I had joined BD News 24, I was a pretty disruptive person, but I never disengaged myself from the job. I never stopped loving the company or owning the company that I work for, the institution or the organization that I work for. Yes, my ways of doing things were not probably liked by people who tried to manage me or were superior to me, but I never stopped delivering. You have to deliver. You have to love the job. You have to like the job. You have to be passionate about the job. That's when you become creative and you find ways to do it. Other things follow. Once you have that, other things follow. It's nothing. You don't have to read how to become a good leader, how to become a millionaire, that kind of books. No, I haven't read any of those things. Academically, I was a leader writer in the early '90s on economic policy issues. Policy change. I read quite a few economic policy changing editorials as a leader writer when I was very young. I enjoyed doing it. I didn't get, nothing changed for me personally. Yes, in a different way it did. But then I enjoyed that, yes, my editorials, my writers, my leaders were changing policy. Government was responding to it. And it's changing. So it's very important that you enjoy doing it. You love doing it. If you don't love doing it, then you won't be able to succeed. And will do. I mean, new things, new ideas will come up only when you are passionate about it. When we're in financial crisis, time and again in the last 14 or 15 years, we've gone through various crises. We had to innovate constantly. We kept innovating. We did something, then some other organization was following it. And we went to these telcos, then everyone started going to telcos. When we started doing videos, so everyone started doing video stuff. So yes, you create competence, but our key objective, our key achievement is that we have been able to create so many followers. So yes, folks, the youngsters, I would say that love your job, rest will follow, and do not do anything that you do not love. Do not you love doing. Do not do anything that you are forced to do. Then you will not be able to apply yourself fully to the job.
That is understood, Mr. Khalidi. But if you look around the world, there are thousands of leadership development platforms, self-development platform, which is absent in Bangladesh. So in the absence of any such institutional capacities nationwide, how do you think the young generation leader will develop themselves? Like they're going to be self-made, but do you have any recommendations for them to
But I think
uh,
these institutions
develop their
produce,
flares that they have within them?
yes, these institutions help you produce average leaders. The disruptive leaders, change makers, they don't go to institutions. Steve Jobs didn't go, it was a dropout. Founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, is a dropout. I'm not asking or encouraging youngsters to be
But great
drop out.
leaders are great learners as well.
Yeah. But keep studying, reading, researching, and observing, watching. It's very important. Don't stop, don't think at any point of your life that I have learned enough, I know enough. No, you cannot say that not in today's world, never, even from ancient times, all the learned people, the wise men, all the people who have helped shape the civilization, the history of this world, never said that they've learned enough. Do not stop reading, studying, researching, observing, watching new things. And you will every day you learn new things. That's the key. Institutions can help a huge number of leaders, the average ones. We need them. We need them. They're very important too. But the top ones, the big ones, the ones who will change the world, I'm not sure whether they come from institutions. Of course, there are exceptions. They also can come from institutions. But there has to be something different. There has to be something extra, something out of the ordinary, out of the box about them. If you want to be really extraordinary, if you really want to be different, and as you said, disruptive. Yeah, disruption doesn't mean you don't care about discipline. Disruption means you do it differently. No, you do not follow a certain rule. You challenge those rules. That's disruptive talent.
Yes, there
I
is
have
a
a
saying that if it is not
I have a
broken,
fascination
break
about
it.
these disruptive people. Disruptive talent. I've come across quite a few, at least one or two, in my organization, and I try to promote them and actually fast track them, which is very difficult in our country when even a day's seniority is counted. I'm senior to him. I was senior to him in or her in school or college, or he's 2 years younger than me. That kind of thing matters. When I was running a newsroom, I was not even. I was probably 30 years old when I was writing leaders initially, and I had my first post editorial published, which was on Public Service Commission. I did not like the way Public Service Commission was judging, people or assessing people for civil service. I wrote a piece. I was 23, having lost 4 years to General Ershad's rule. University, we spent extra 4 years. So, but still, 23. So it worked, and they listened. And because they didn't know that it was written by a 23-year-old kid. If they knew, probably they wouldn't read it. That's a different issue. Uh, so, I mean, it's very important to be
Okay.
disciplined.
So we have
Very,
gone past our 30 minutes allocated time, Mr. Khalidi. Thank you very much. But I would lastly request you for a few inspirational words for the new generation leaders who are looking forward to become a leader like you.
I'm not sure whether I'm a leader or anything. I work, and
You
I've
are, of
worked really
course.
hard. At times, I've really, until a certain point. These days, I cannot work that much. I do not spend that much time in newsroom. I used to spend a lot of time in the newsroom. Probably, I would be the last person to come out of the newsroom. I was, in some cases, the first person to walk into the newsroom. I loved my newsroom. I loved it. Wherever I worked, I loved newsroom. I spent most of the time doing it. So yes, uh, you work hard. You try to disrupt proceedings, but do not destroy it, damage it, or destabilize it, or do anything that harm the organization or institution. Be disciplined. That's very important. Be devoted to the work that you are doing. Be devoted to the organization that you're working for. It's very important to be. The devotion is important. Discipline is important, but disruption is another thing. But disrupting it just to damage it is a different thing. Don't do that.
So thank you so very much, Mr. Khalidi. It had truly been an honor or a privilege to have you in this sublime leadership event. And we do look forward to having you
Do I
even
have
in
a
into
minute
the
to
future.
talk about the host? Do I have a minute to talk about the host?
Yes, of
I've
course.
just
Go ahead.
look. I just have had a look at the. I glanced through this CV. It's an amazingly impressive CV. 5 masters in addition to all these professional courses. RCDS, Royal College of Defense Studies, and the top American Defense College and School, whatever. In addition to that, 5 masters, including 2 MBAs, one from King's College, one of the top universities in the world. And you went to other schools, and you went to Harvard for a course or whatever, and then went to the top of the world, Oxford. You did 3 PhDs, including one DBA from UK University. I mean, Doctor of Business Administration. How did you manage to do all that? I mean, I counted it: 5 plus 2 and 3, probably 8 masters or equivalent degrees, 3 PhDs, and all these courses, 40 years in the military. How did you manage to do that? Because I'm
Because
more
I
interested in asking questions rather than
because
answering.
I do what I love and I love what I do. So that is the secret. If you have found your
How did
purpose
you
of
manage
life,
to do that? I'm
uh,
quite amazed and
be-
surprised, and pleasantly
be-
surprised.
because if you're really passionate about something, if you have found the passion, and if you are pursuing that passion, like there is saying that if you love your job, you don't have to work for a day, as you had been saying it. So if you love learning, if you love reading, I think that getting degrees and learning more and more on the leadership is some kind of enjoyment. I do hugely enjoy
So many
learning about
degrees, and
leadership.
you went to all the top institutions in the world.
Yeah,
Which
because
within the
because
job,
my tenure in BUP, being the vice chancellor, that really helped me or enabled me to visit a lot of institution in my official capacity, and thereafter I had even ventured to participate in some of their courses, like you have seen the executive leadership program in Oxford and one of the 2 programs in Harvard, and you do really have to exert or get to invest some of your effort to get degrees, and I always love to do that.
yeah, he did a brilliant job. 39 years in the army. He did a great job being rising up to 3 star.
Thank you very much.
Lieutenant
Thank you
General.
very much. We would like to have
I
you
must apologize to
maybe
I must
again in
apologize
this
to you
platform.
for not being able to respond to your invitation when you were at BUP. You invited quite a few times, go and give a lecture. But I'm not. I don't. I think I'm
I
qualified.
will definitely compensate to that by coming maybe coming ad nauseum to your places so that you get bored of me.
So do visit our office, and
Of
and
course, I
of
will.
course we have spent some time with my colleagues. They're wonderful people. They're actually the
Yeah.
leaders. They have
Yes,
set
I know.
a
I
new
understand.
standard in journalism. They have set a new standard in journalism. They have, when it comes to authentic journalism, authenticity, credibility, and we're not always first. One thing I keep telling my colleagues, I've been telling my colleagues since the day one, that we don't have to be first all the time, but we want to be accurate all the time. So accuracy is the key. Trust is the key. Thank you.
Exactly. I understand. So thank you very much. And we do look forward to having you once again on this platform. Thank
It was
you,
a
Mr.
pleasure.
Khalidi. Thank you very much. Good night.